North Korea continues to roll out provocations in various shapes and forms, from sending waste-carrying balloons to firing missiles. Let's talk about the latest missile launch with Dr. Bruce Bennett. Welcome back, Dr. Bennett.
Well, thank you. My pleasure.
Should a special meaning be given to North Korea's missile launch a few hours ago this morning?
Well, North Korea was clearly trying to offset the Freedom Edge exercise. They don't want their people to be thinking that Kim doesn't have the power to do something in response to an outside exercise. But it's really important to realize that this response suggests that Kim believes that outside information is leaking in, and he's got enough instability that he's got to do something about it. That's an interesting situation to have developed.
So North Korea being edgy about the trilateral Freedom Edge drill. And Monday's launch also comes after the South Korean military pointed out the failure of the test of a new multi-nuclear warhead missile last Wednesday. Now, why did the North argue and insist it was a success? I mean, why lie?
Well, Kim apparently is facing a fair degree of instability. He can't seem to fail. He fails in so many other ways. He's got to look like all this money he is spending on missiles and nuclear weapons and so forth are getting something for the elites. And that's what, so he can't just admit that he's failed.
Right. And also over the weekend, a pin featuring the portrait of North Korean leader Kim Jong-un was officially seen for the first time. Now, why is this such a big deal?
Well, before, the normal pins just showed Kim Il-sung, Kim Jong-il. That meant that Kim was trying to establish a relationship to his father and his grandfather. Now Kim apparently believes that he's an independent power player, that he does not need to have that legitimacy of his father and his grandfather. And he's worried that there are lots of people loyal to his father and grandfather among the elites who are not entirely loyal towards him because of his behavior and failures. So I think he's trying to clearly focus on his own accomplishments, make it look like he's a big deal. This is an important change because it suggests that psychologically he's insecure.
Well, Dr. Bennett, I do have to ask you, what symbolism do those pins carry to begin with?
Well, I think the key symbolism is the leadership. I mean, we're talking about Kim Jong-il, Kim Il-sung, both appearing to be almost godlike. Now Kim Jong-un wants to appear that way. I think he's trying to establish himself as an independent leader without having to rely on his father and grandfather, remembering that he has recently said, just 6 months ago, that he was not going to pursue reunification with the South in a negotiated manner. That's an important break from history where his father and grandfather said that was a #1 priority.
Well, would you say the regime is not trying to glorify Kim Il-sung or Kim Jong-il anymore?
Well, I think what he's trying to say is that their policies, which included unification, are no longer going to be the focus of his regime. That then takes him off the hook for the failures that he's had. It takes him off the hook for his decision to completely isolate the regime from the outside, which is what he's trying to do with calling South Korea an enemy, no longer thinking about unification. He's trying to manage his own problems, and they're apparently serious.
Definitely. And Dr. Bennett, it's officially monsoon season here on the Korean Peninsula. And the South Korean government has requested that North Korea give prior notice before, discharging water from its dam, a border dam, as we enter the season. Now, the North hasn't done so for years. Will the North notify the South this year? What do you think?
Oh, very unlikely. I mean, they weren't willing to notify South Korea when South Koreans were brothers. So why would they be willing to notify South Korea when they're saying that South Koreans are enemies? So I think this is a case where we could see some really strange behavior by Kim trying to cause a problem with this.
So highly unlikely the North will notify South Korea over discharging water this monsoon season either. All right, Dr. Bennett, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We appreciate it as always.
Certainly, my pleasure.